what would God do in whatever situation we're in today? Okay,
I think you have to pull the projection. You have to.
and
You've just got to disown the projections and let the projections work. You got to understand that those are not the reality. That there's a reality beyond those projections, and you've got to act from within. You know, you're talking about the evil and the good and the evil, but it's like those things exist out there. But you know, Stalin was just a paranoid son of a bitch. And
right.
what he did, he made perfect sense to him. He wasn't trying to be evil. He was just doing what he thought was what he needed to do. Hitler the same way.
Absolutely.
These guys, they aren't going, you know, I'm an evil son of a bitch.
No, that's
but
right.
But then there's
You're
the
right.
other side. There's the people say, well, I'm going to do good in life. That's great, but you don't usually find somebody who says, I'm going to do evil in life. No.
They don't, but they are. I mean, from the perspective of history.
They're living through their projections, you know?
Surely.
And you've got to understand the projections.
Well, Jung talks about the danger of that, about the guy going home at night and putting on his Masonic outfit and everything, and Grand Dragon or whatever, and then he goes to work the next day and he's the civilized Swiss guy.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're talking about.
Well,
creating a fantasy and then trying to live that fantasy.
Well, we have to step above the opposite.
We're already in a fantasy.
Yeah, I'm talking about Stalin and Hitler.
Yeah, but we have to
mythological. Well, Stalin didn't. He was more practical, but
we have to step above the opposites. That's, I think, Jung's point, and that's the point of Buddhism also, that. You know, Buddhism will tell you that everything is duality.
I see it more as a suit. You step out of it.
Yeah, we have to step above it. We have to be above it.
Well, above it doesn't work for me.
But you know, like projections, like love at first sight, that's a very pleasant projection.
Yeah, but you're loving yourself.
Well, I know, but when you're saying withdraw it, well, it'll be withdrawn for you anyway. But
after the honeymoon is over, it will be withdrawn.
It will be withdrawn, but.
But I know, but
there's a lot of pleasantness in that energy gradient that Jung is talking about.
Well, and
those things.
And we need that energy gradient because that's how we keep the species alive, right? I mean, that's
the whole point of Buddhism, and Hinduism, and Maya, and moksha. Well, not moksha. Anyway, the whole idea that you live in an illusion, and of course it's pleasant. I mean, geez, that's
okay. Well, let me read a little bit more here because
let's let you finish what you want to get done today, and then we can gab away.
Okay, so paragraph 669 now. We still have 80 paragraphs to go. And I've read them all, so I know the end. Okay, paragraph 669. So the Book of Enoch, which was written about 100 years BC, it gives a revealing account of the advance of the sons of God into the world of men. It's a prefiguration described as the fall of the angels. Enoch 7:2. God had decided that his spirit would not abide in man forever. There was a rebellion in heaven, and 200 fallen angels fell in love with beautiful daughters of men under the leadership of Samyazas and begot with them giants. Okay, so basically it was a big inflation. And they progressively taught men the arts and the sciences. And so it enlarged the significance of men. Now, Jung, throughout Answer to Job, is talking mythologically, because I think what Edinger is saying in other places is Jung was afraid that if he just laid it out for you, it would be too much. People would go wacko with it. And so he was talking mythologically into your unconscious, basically. So he's using the myths to teach. Okay, so he's saying that, okay, the fallen angels, the myth of the fallen angels, taught man the arts and the sciences. So it enlarged the significance of men to gigantic proportions, which points to an inflation of cultural consciousness at that period. And inflation is always threatened with a counterstroke from the unconscious. This happened in the form of the Deluge. So the giants started to devour the acquisitions of men, and then began to devour one another. The earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. That's Enoch 7:3-6. So paragraph 670, serious consequences to the invasion of the human world. It explains Yahweh's precautions when he decides to become man later on, 1,000 years later. Perhaps we should read this as precautions of the writers of the Book of Enoch, etc. The archangels start to get the word, so the archangels are in heaven, and they start to realize that the giants in the humans are inflated, and this occurs by accident, and they express frustration that they didn't know what to do. Yahweh has, in 671, he says, Yahweh has drawn no conclusions from his own omniscience, preferred not knowing. Yahweh preferred not to know. Only on their intervention, Yahweh drowns everything except Noah and his family. No more giants, no more inflated humans, right? And so the Sons of God Archeangels seems more vigilant, more progressive, and more conscious than their father. The recollection of Sophia has added to Yahweh's consciousness. So in Ezekiel and Daniel, only vague hints at the quaternity and Son of Man. Enoch gives clear information about the underworld, about Hades. Hades is divided into 4 hollow places. So again, the quaternity that keeps coming up in the unconscious, and the abodes of the dead until the last judgment. One is bright, and one of the 4 abodes in Hades is bright and has a fountain of water, which is in Enoch 9:5-11. This is the abode of the righteous. So basically we're up to discussing righteousness again. Okay, so that's what we have evolving, is human righteousness. So Enoch sees the 4 faces of God, praising, praying, supplicating, but the 4th is fending off the Satans. So it's the essential differentiation of the God image: 4 faces, 4 angels, 4 places in Hades. It's the conscious dynamic to keep Satan away. Oh, so Edinger is saying this is a conscious dynamic to keep Satan away.
Where is the 4 faces discussed? What paragraph?
Paragraph 674 and 673. Enoch sees the 4 faces of God, praising, praying, supplicating, but the 4th is fending off the Satans.
What does he mean by this in practical terms?
Well, he means we have to fight back from our dark side. I think he means we have to fight back from our dark side. And so one of the 4 aspects of our humanity is to fight off the Satans, the temptations, the temptations.
Those are just the ways that you commune with God, right? The three faces, and then the one where you fend off the others so that you can.
Well, did he have a personal challenge there to do that?
Who has
Jung?
I'm
With
sorry,
his
what's the...
patience, with Emma and with relation to his patience? Because I know he did advise one fellow in one of his letters that he was neglecting his wife
Mhm.
in his dalliances, I guess.
I don't think Jungian Analysis or Dr. Jung ever made any qualitative judgment about people. They only helped people to free themselves, right? And then it's up to you. The point is, I think Edinger said it at one point that the purpose of Jungian analysis is to have people have the experience, right? The Gnostic experience, which is to experience God, basically. And once you experience that, you realize that it's up to you to decide what's right.
Once you experience the unconscious, then you begin to see the container of all of the consciousness and all of those projections and all those illusions. And suddenly there's a that experience allows you to be. Krishnamurti said there's two types of people in the world: those that know and those that don't know. And suddenly you become one of the people that knows.
But we're specifically talking about the responsibility to fight off Satan, right?
No, I'm not talking about that.
No.
He's talking theoria. He's not talking praxis.
Yeah, that's right. He's not talking practice.